Welcome back to pregame.tv. Brady Kannon and Bryan Leonard here on a Tuesday. The college segment is in the books, and we're talking NFL now. Week 3 of the NFL season, and a lot of happenings in the NFL, both on and off the field, as you're well aware. And a couple of division rivals now going at it here in Week 3 with the Arizona Cardinals hosting the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners come in off of a loss. They are 1-1 on the year after that debacle in their opening of Levi's Stadium in a late loss to Chicago. Arizona, meanwhile, 2-0 on the year. Very impressive with a Monday night victory over San Diego and then going across the country to take care of the New York Giants. We're going to look at the total on this one. The spread is the Niners by about 2.5 or 3, and the total is at 42.5. Bryan, any thoughts on these two teams early on so far?
I'm not a believer in the San Francisco team right now, but this is, you would have to think, in a division with Seattle, as you mentioned, 1-1, the way they blew that game the other day, and they're playing at home. This has to be a must-win game for San Francisco. The only problem is that defense, I have concerns about it. And the offense, you go back to the preseason, they didn't really move the ball that well.
No.
Yeah, in Arizona, obviously, the starting quarterback situation there, but that defense is very good.
Very good, and I actually have more concerns. I agree with you about the 49ers offense, but I'm not as concerned about their defense. They didn't give up any points to Dallas except for late in the game when they were basically on cruise control, and they didn't give up any points to Chicago except for in the fourth quarter when the offense turned the ball over. So I think that defense is going to be okay. I think this is going to be a very good matchup. Two division rivals, they really busted it at each other last year. Arizona off a great campaign. The Niners, of course, getting into the postseason as they have for the last few years. I mean, we know about the NFC West. I think this is going to be a good clash.
Yeah, it definitely will be here. And Arizona's a team right now. I mean, a lot of people thought after last year they may take a step back.
Right.
But I have seen no reason for that. I mean, last week, you take a look at what they did. They played a late game on Monday Night Football and travel all the way to the East Coast, find out an hour before game time that the quarterback's not going to play, and they still win. Now, that's pretty impressive.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you a little bit that goes into my thinking this week. With the new quarterback, he comes up, for me, I relate it to golf. If I haven't played golf in 6 months, I'll go out there, and I'm a pretty good player. Drew Stanton's a pretty good quarterback. He goes out, he gets it, bang, bang, bang. Hey, this is great, no problem. I think the second week might be where he comes back a little bit and go, whoa, this was so easy the first week, what happened? And in the first week he played against the Giants. I mean, I don't think the Giants are a great team. If they have any strength over there in New York, it probably is their defense, but I think he's stepping up in class this week against the Niner defense.
Yeah, you see teams that have film on him now for what he did last week.
Sure.
We're going to see the same thing out of the Washington Redskins this week, too.
You ready to make it official?
Let's do it.
All right, the first division game for both teams here, the Arizona Cardinals hosting the San Francisco 49ers, and I think that's going to translate into both of these teams playing a little closer to the vest. They're very familiar with each other. They know each other's tendencies, and I think they're going to scale back the game plan just a bit because it means that much more when you're playing in division. I think both the 49ers and Arizona will emphasize a clean game here. Drew Stanton, as I mentioned in the discussion here with Bryan, came out and really wowed the whole NFL crowd last week in a very impressive performance against New York. But in his second go-around, it might not be so easy for him. And I think Bruce Arians will keep it simple for this new quarterback. I don't think Carson Palmer is going to play. And what I'm saying here is I think Drew Stanton, he's going to have the reins tightened a little bit against likely a tougher defense. On the other side, Colin Kaepernick made mistake after mistake late in the game, led to the 49ers' loss. I think Jim Harbaugh will turn to running the ball. It's very similar to the free pick that we did last week where Dallas was mistake-ridden in week 1. And what did they do? They gave the ball to DeMarco Murray. I think the Niners will be similar in their plan here. They will run the ball. They'll give the ball to Frank Gore and Carlos Hyde, and they will scale back some of that offensive game plan. Both teams have very good defenses. San Francisco held Dallas to just 3 points in the first half. It was 14 when they were protecting the lead late in the game. The Bears mustered just 7 points against the Niners before the debacle in the fourth quarter with the turnovers that allowed for a lot of those points. And Arizona, in their 2 games, they held San Diego to 17 points and the Giants to only 14. Finally, another thing to look at, San Francisco off of a loss in the Harbaugh era, and I think it goes back a couple years, 3 years. When they came off of a loss, their next opponent, they held them to like under a touchdown. And that was a streak of, I want to say, 8 games or something like this. And I don't think the defense is as good this year, but the point is Harbaugh emphasizes that. And I think you're going to have a low-scoring game here because both teams have good defenses. It's a division game, and I think they'll dumb down the game plan a little bit for the quarterbacks. We're going under 42.5, San Francisco at Arizona.
Yeah, that's a great point you made about being conservative after a lot of turnovers. That's one of the things I always look at, especially if there's a lot of interceptions.
Yeah, and like I say, it goes into our free pick last week with Dallas, and that turned out. We won one. We both won a free pick last week.
I needed a 99-yard interception return, but hey, that's what happens in football. We're going to have a lot going against us.
That's right. You're gonna the way the ball bounces, and you
right.
hope you're on the right side. In the last 2 minutes, you never know. That'll do it for another week here with Bryan Leonard and myself, Brady Kannon. Stay with us. It's pregame.tv.